All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome to the IDP Effective Market and Engagement in Vietnam webinar. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to gain insights into Vietnam, a growing market for the U.S. institutions. Due to the increased interest and need for student diversity, IDP US and Vietnam have teamed up to share our knowledge. So my name is Nick Paddock. I'm a Client Success Manager based in Northern Kentucky near Cincinnati, Ohio. And I came to IDP from the institutional side, and I have over 8 years of experience in the sector. I'm really enjoying my time at IDP. Sang?
Thank you, Nick. Hello, good morning, everyone, and good evening, people in Vietnam. My name is Sang Nguyen, and I joined IDP 7 years ago. So I'm responsible for Vietnam and Singapore.
And Thu?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time to join this event with us. My name is Thu. You can call me like number 2 for easy to remember. And I am the country destination manager, and I am with IDP for 7 years already. Thank you.
Thank you, Sang and Thu. So IDP is a global leader in international education with a clear focus on building trusted relationships with students and families, a diverse portfolio of institutions, and the sector. We do this on a global scale, placing over 55,000 students annually from 35 different source countries into all major English-speaking countries. It's through our investment and innovative use of data and digital technology that we have been able to scale and enhance our personal connections, enabling us to deliver global success to more students and partners than ever before. We offer strategic solutions to institutions based on their enrollment goals, global recruitment trends, and real-time data across 3 main areas: intelligence, marketing, and recruitment. Through data produced from student engagement on idp.com and hotcourses.com, IDP apps, and emerging future surveys, and our experienced team in the US and abroad, partners can make informed and evidence-based decisions. Digital marketing is more important than ever before, especially with the emergence of AI. IDP provides multiple digital resources for partners to reach students through IDP and Hot Courses English and translated websites and well-managed digital advertising. Last and certainly not least, student recruitment IDP counselors provide end-to-end student-first support while keeping up to date on market trends, student interest, and partner information. IDP has global reach of approximately over 1,700 counselors and over 200 offices in 35 countries. For US partners and IDP team of 19, our point of contact in each market is with our 9 destination managers. They have a wealth of recruitment and cultural knowledge that help drive success for not only our partners, but their counselors too. So Sang and Thu will share insights on the Vietnam market, IDP's growth, student insights and admissions journey, and share market engagement recommendations as well. So please add your questions to the Q&A feature, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. Enough for me now, so I'll hand it over to Sang to talk about market overview, IDP Vietnam expansion overview, Vietnamese student insights, student journey, and the market engagement recommendations.
Thank you, Nick, and
welcome.
Yeah, so good morning again, everyone, and I would like to take you through the Vietnam market overview, and some of my colleagues too will take you through the student insights. Further upon, I would like to share a little bit about the Vietnam countries. You know, the Vietnam we have a diverse and young population. The country is considered is very safe. The politics is quite stable, and especially the parents in Vietnam really invest into their educations. In terms of GDP growth, last year the GDP growth is about 5%, and in 2024 the government is expecting to grow up to 6%. And in terms of population, we have around 100 million people, and the growth rate is 0.8%. And we have the growing middle class, and we are expecting to get to grow to 21 million by 2030. And currently we have about 18 million school students, so which is the source for universities and colleges. And currently, the Vietnam have about 190,000 overseas students. In terms of geography, the country has a long coastal country with about more than 330,000 square kilometer, and we have 33 provinces, and we have only one main language, and with about more than 50 minority ethnic group. In terms of economic strength, Vietnam is known as strong in agriculture and services, with account about 56% of our GDP, and the country attracts very high FDI investment. So last year it was about 13 billion US dollar, and the country is known as migration driven. So the Vietnam people like to migrate to US, Canada, Australia. They are the key destinations, and currently we have 500,000 overseas Vietnamese workers. And in terms of demand for international education, currently we have about 190,000 Vietnamese students are studying overseas, and in that we have about like 90% of our students are self-funding, and the top destination for Vietnamese students is always US in many years, and the second destinations are Australia, and the third one is Canada. So we have about in FY21, every destination were impacted by COVID. But however, after COVID, we see that the student drop out quickly, and the US is still leading the market, and the second range is Australia. Is accelerating quickly, and Canada will be the third largest destinations. And we see that most of the destinations got back to their pre-COVID level, especially Australia is getting quite strong. Next slide, please. For IDP Vietnam, and we continue to open new offices, and we believe that the new offices will deliver student placement growth, and we will continue to gain our market leadership across destinations. In FY24, we have 14 offices, including 12 physical offices and 2 virtual offices across the country. And where is the biggest market for us in Ho Chi Minh City? We have 4 offices, and in one office in Mekong Delta in Cần Thơ City, and we have the virtual office in the south to cover all the southern provinces, which is where we don't have the physical presence. And we have the one office in Nha Trang in the big cities, one office in Da Nang cities, and one office in Vinh and in Hanoi market we have 3 offices, and we just opened one office in Hai Phong city, and we also maintain the virtual offices to cover the northern provinces. So in terms of US application from IDP Vietnam, this is the number from our data, and we see that the application grow year on year very fast. If we look at the FY21, we grow only 8% compared to FY22 because of COVID, but however, after COVID, the applications grow very quickly, 51% in FY22 and 30% in FY23, and year-to-date FY24, the application for US destination grow by 53%. And in terms of resources, the number of headcount, so we are supporting for the US. And currently at IDP Vietnam, we have more than 70 headcount people working for US destinations, and the 70 headcount across 14 offices, and including the managers, country destination manager, and office manager, and counselor.
Thank you, Sang. A lot of growth there, Sang.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I would like to, sorry, This is the slide from IDP Connect, and I would like to take help from Nit to share with you more insight about the demand from Vietnam. So, thank you, Nit. Yeah.
Thank you, Sang. So this is data pulled from IQ Demand, which is sourced from information and engagement on hotcourses.com and idp.com. So we can see trends from students in certain markets. So particularly Vietnam, of course. We can see what students are looking at. And it's a very robust amount of data, and it is insightful to see what students are interested in at the top of the funnel when they're beginning that investigation, whether they're in high school or they're seeking their postgraduate degree. We can get a sense of what students are researching, and it can indicate where to put some resources as far as if you have in-country support, or if you are setting up marketing or doing an email drip campaign, or want to target certain students within your CRM, you can take a look at this information here. So you can see, for example, Ho Chi Minh City, the most students lived in that region, and are clearly driving most of the interactions on those two websites, providing this data for us. So it's pretty interesting to see Ho Chi Minh followed by Hanoi, Da Nang, and the other two cities, and health and medicine leading the most clicks. This can be true for most of our destinations. Students might be seeking that pre-med track, or might be seeking some sort of pre-nursing track, and it might be at the postgraduate level and undergraduate as well. And of course, business and administrative services is very high in demand for the Vietnamese students. So there's a lot of interesting data here, and you can do a deeper dive. I'm not going to stick too much on this slide because I know that Sang and Tu have quite a bit to cover. And just looking at comparison between Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi, you can see the change in a top to bottom level of interest, whereas creative arts and design is a bit more popular in Hanoi versus, business administration being top in Hanoi and second in Ho Chi Minh City. So Sang, I'll pass it back, or I'm sorry, Tu, I'll pass it over to you. Student insights.
Thank you, Nick. And I will share the Vietnam student insights, their journey, and some market engagement recommendation to attract more students to your schools. So first, I will talk about the FY23 enrollment breakdown by program of study for both undergraduate and postgraduate students at IDP Vietnam. And as you can see here, the top major for Vietnamese students is business and management with about 41%. And the other major that need attention is computing and IT with about 23%. And then other science, applied science, and engineering is nearly 15%. So if you want to attract more students from Vietnam, please do not forget to promote these programs. The fine art, design, and media rank the fourth with nearly 5%. And let's talk about the health and medicine. Many Vietnamese students do the research or ask for this program at the initial counseling stage, as you see in the slide of Nick above. But surprisingly, most of them do not choose the program in the end. So it's only 2.84%. And now let's talk about the breakdown of study level and cities in FY23. As you can see in the slide, the undergraduate and postgraduate are 76.6% for both colleges and universities. The foundation is only 13%. And in terms of the cities, we have the Tier 1 city, Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi, Tier 2 city, Da Nang and Hai Phong, Tier 3 cities, Cần Thơ, Vinh and Nha Trang. And Ho Chi Minh City remains the largest market, followed by Hanoi in the second place, and then Da Nang and other cities. Now, let's discuss more about the study level. And you can see here, for the undergraduate program, the bachelor degree are the most popular with 85%, and associate degree is only 15%. And in the associate degree sector, 91% of them from Ho Chi Minh City. And moving on to the high school programs, 70% of students choose the private high school, while 19% decided to study the high school complexion program at community colleges, and 11% study summer course for a few weeks. And can you I want to talk more about the north and the south of Vietnam. So in the north of Vietnam, especially in Hanoi, the student often look for the scholarship from schools with high ranking. And for them, high ranking means good quality. For example, many of them ask for the top 100 national university in the US News. So our counselor had to spend a lot of time to explain for them that university with regional ranking or top 300 national university are also very good options. And in the South, especially Ho Chi Minh City, most of the students give decision based on the affordable tuition fee and living costs. And now moving to the next part, I would like to talk about the student journey. You know, Vietnam is not an English-speaking country, so Vietnamese students will often begin their journey very early, from 18 to 24 months in advance of their enrollment days. So they go through 4 stages: research, institution selection, application submission, and offer acceptance. At the research stage, the student consider the factors such as which program, scholarship, ranking, and location. But many of them don't need to, especially from the south of Vietnam, don't need to consider about the location because they have relatives in the US. And talking about the relatives, you may heard about the Vietnam War, and most of the people who left Vietnam because of the war used to live in the south of Vietnam. So the United States had the largest Vietnamese community in the world, and the majority of the Vietnamese Americans live in California and then Texas. So the student who have relatives will choose a student and will choose a school on the advice of their relatives. And for the students who don't have relatives, they do not need to look for the places with many Vietnamese restaurants or Vietnamese communities. They want school with the high, with the good education quality, and of course the lowest tuition fee. If they can find a good price for them, I know that, you know. So it will take them a lot of time, and we would have spent a lot of time with them to talk about this topic. And of course, the safe location is the most important for them. And they will do a lot of research, contact some agent, and attend many fair and seminar. And after that, they return to the agent because they find out so many good options for them. And they go back to us for the guidance and the institution with the clear information about scholarship, simple admission requirement, and high visa successful rate would be easier to go to their shortlist. You know, the visa successful rate is very hot topic in Vietnam because with Vietnamese people, it's very difficult to have the visa. And for the application submission, they often apply from 3 to 5 institutions at IDP. So the institution which can offer them the best chance of admission and best scholarship. At this stage, the way application fee for the serious student is highly recommended. And for the final stage offer acceptance, the final decision is driven by FAST offers and good scholarship. So having the right strategy at each stage is very important to attracting more students. And now we will have some recommendation about the market engagement. They are admission process, brand awareness, and engagement with IDP. So in terms of admission process, firstly, improving and set an expectation for the application decision turnaround time is very important. Now, some schools can issue offer in only 48 hours, and many other schools can issue in 1 to 2 weeks. So I think under 2 weeks is ideally, but from 1 to 4 months is too long for students. Secondly, please provide simple and clear admission requirement. For example, not required for the third-party evaluation like WES, no required for essay or SOP, way SAT, GMAT, or GRE. And as I mentioned above, the student will apply at least 3 to 5 schools at the same time. Some even apply for 10 schools. So if you make it simple, so the student, you will have more chance to win the student. And thirdly, if you offer scholarship, please do make it clear about the scholarship award amount and the requirement to match the Vietnamese grading system after scholarship assessment. No requirement for admission for additional document or essay. We have seen an institution in Florida do it. And after a few years in Vietnam market, they become very popular with all the Asian and a lot of Vietnamese students. And in terms of providing application fee waiver, of course, it's also for the one who the fee waiver, and for the one who already popular in Vietnam market, you can limit the time and with the time and the number of application fee waiver. And for the school looking to build a brand in Vietnam, you can consider to removing the application fee for all the students. And last but not least, the primary contact for application follow-up is and have with the quick response time is really very important in Vietnam. In terms of brand awareness, firstly, please provide our student and counselor with the friendly marketing material. I mean, the simple e-brochure and print brochure. I used to see a brochure with few words and a QR code in each stage, but you know, Vietnamese students will rarely scan to read the information. They often use the QR code to transfer the money in Vietnam. So besides that, we have brochure. I used to see many brochure with too many words. It also do not attract the student. So if you can make it, can do the brochure or e-brochure in Vietnamese, it will be useful for both student and parents, because most parents in Vietnam cannot read English. So let's talk about the digital marketing. The Facebook is the most popular in Vietnam for both young and old people. I mean, both parents and students use Facebook, and young students also use Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. So you can do advertising on all of them, but I highly recommend for the Facebook. And More importantly, attend fair, roadshow, and event frequently. As you know above, Vietnamese students often begin their journey 18 and 12 months in advance of their enrollment days. So at that time, they will attend many fairs, roadshow, and events as much as they can. So even they don't talk to you all the time, but when they go to the fair and they see you, they see your school name, they will feel more confident about you. Moreover, if anyone who visited IDP head office, you can know about our outdoor LED screen. You can do advertising there to promote your brand name, and you can distribute the university branded swag for the students. I know that most of you bring the swag to the fair, but don't bring the university flag, USB, a cap or a hat, because the student rarely use it in Vietnam. So you could think about the item that the student can carry with them all the time, and can use it like keychain, phone stand, or tote bag with the nice design. Don't do this simple. And most of Vietnamese students drive motorbike. They don't use a car or bus or public transport, but they drive motorbike. So you can think about that, something they can carry on, like raincoat, helmet, or umbrella, because it rains a lot in Vietnam. Yeah. And next, in terms of how best you could work with IDP Vietnam, please give up the training section. I know that many of you here do the virtual training with us. Thank you for that, because I know that in the daytime of Vietnam, it's nighttime of you. So we are really appreciate when you're spending time to training for our team. Your training is very good, but I would like to recommend how you could do better in the training, because you can like you're not here in Vietnam, so the training is not really often. So the first impression with the counselor are very important. For example, please introduce or make friends with the counselor before do the training. So the counselor will know who you are and feel confident and trust about you, and also feel that how people at your stage, at your cities, and then please talk about your location. Even your location are very popular in the US, but it may not popular in Vietnam, because most of us don't do not have chance to travel to the US, or just 1 or 2 times. So the location, introduce about the location and make the counselor understand, and like if you can compare with Vietnamese style, so it will be easier for them to talk with the student. And Vietnam is not an English speaking country. So when you talk with our counselor, please make it speak in simple language, or do not too fast, to have them easier to understand. And also highlight the key selling point of your university, because you know the US has so many institutions, and we have to study a lot and attend a lot of training. So do something that simple and highlight will happen a lot. And the next one I recommend is send regular email update with the short, sharp, and keyword in the email title, because we often receive the newsletter with so many words like a news on in the newspaper, and it's very difficult for us to remember or read all of them. So make it frequently, and we can remind about you. And the next one is stay connected with us on Zalo. The Zalo, all of Vietnamese have the Zalo account. We don't use WhatsApp or another Viber. So if you have Zalo, it will be the best way for us. And the last one, of course, participate in IDP event and roadshow. So in the next slide, we have the map for our roadshow in Vietnam. We do in 3 times a year, in March, July, October at 6 cities. And we have the picture here about our seminar and the and the people around in our booth. And one more thing that I would like to add is, if you can, you should hire a local rep in Vietnam, because many Asian in Vietnam don't. I mean that in Vietnam it will be easier for you to promote your school and engage with our team easier. So that's all about my presentation, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, too. Thank you, Sang, so much for the insights and information about Vietnam and how to better recruit within that market. Really insightful. I appreciate it. We have a number of questions that have come through. I don't know if you two have had a chance to see all of them, but good questions. And we'll go ahead and start at the top here. And two are saying, you're welcome to jump in and answer. So first question is, how do Vietnamese students view diversity? Do they want to see photos with students from Southeast Asia, or would they rather see photos that reflect the true population of the university? So many universities in the US may not be as diverse as the photos that the institution is sharing to students. What do they prefer? The honest image or images of students that are from Vietnam only?
I think that they prefer the diversity, not only from Southeast Asia, because they want to study English. They want to be learn more about the US culture. So
okay, yeah.
So I hope that it's clear for you.
And do they, let's elaborate on that. Do they prefer video of students sharing about their experience, or simply just photographs if it's some sort of digital marketing they're receiving?
Yeah, I think that the video is especially the short video is very popular in Vietnam now, because of the TikTok is now developed a lot and very popular in Vietnam. So even in the YouTube, the student also want to see the short video in the Facebook and in the YouTube and TikTok.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So what do you consider affordable tuition for a student from Vietnam? And I know I've asked you this before.
Do you mean about the rank of the tuition fee?
Yeah, so if we're considering students from either Southern Vietnam or Northern Vietnam, what are their average total costs that they can afford, essentially?
Yeah, for both the South and the North of Vietnam, I think that the affordable tuition fee is from 20,000 to under 30,000. Yeah.
And I'll elaborate on that as well. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, of course, it is the scholarship is something that very important for them, even with the family that they have can afford, but they can share with their friends and family that their kid study good enough to get the scholarship.
Yeah, that was my next question. Scholarship, when students receive a scholarship, is it important for them to receive a certificate or some sort of document to demonstrate and show that to their family and peers? Or is it just simply an email that they need to receive, or a view within their institutional application portal they can see?
Normally, I see that the institution issue the letter about the scholarship. So I think that is good enough.
Okay, great. All right, our next question. Outside of Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, what Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities should universities consider visiting? What are the main student drivers with students' decision making?
So I can take that question. Yeah. Outside Ho Chi Minh cities in Hanoi, we have other cities tier 2 is like Cần Thơ cities, Da Nang cities, and Hai Phong cities, and Ha Long. So they are considering at the tier 2 cities, and from our data, the majority of our students come from tier 1 Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh cities. And the second question, what are the main student driver in student decision making? So, the Vietnamese students are looking for quality of studies, and they're looking for a safe environment. Yes, of course, they are looking for affordable tuition fee and scholarship. And the most important for Vietnamese students is the job opportunities after studying.
Thang, I have a follow-up question, and two as well, about Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. What's the best way to connect with students in those cities and to appeal to them about your institution and the programs you're offering, the aid you're offering, total cost? I think many institutions either are focusing on Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi only, or maybe Ho Chi Minh, Hanoi, and Da Nang, but aren't quite maybe sure on how to expand their reach within the country to those other Tier 3 and Tier 2 cities.
Let me answer this question. About the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, I found that the student and parent rely on the word of mouth, more about word of mouth or physical event than the digital marketing. So the way that I think that the best way they can do is working with agent and working with agent to and provide them the good service for the student currently study at their university, and then they will have good feedback for their friends.
Great point. Thank you very much. And for the next question here, curious if there's an opportunity for IDP to connect universities with area high schools for visits or those one-on-one coffee chats. Is that pretty common within Vietnam? And does IDP support institutional partners to meet directly with students in high schools?
Did you mean that connect university with area high school visit to visit the high school? So actually now in Vietnam, we have the Busy Need Development Manager team, and they frequently organize the university fair in high school in Vietnam. And because it's very short time for us to arrange this kind of fair, only maybe 1 or 2 weeks or 1 month. So we normally invited the university, the school which have the local rep to join our fair. So some of the public university high school in Vietnam, they do not allow foreigner pupil to join. With the private high school in Vietnam, it's quite more flexible to have foreigner people to join. I'm talking about the fair, not talking about the personal visits. Yeah. And about the connect with serious student one-on-one meeting or coffee chats. So if you visit IDP Vietnam, book us a visit an office. We for the training or the visit, we often share the information with our students, and if they can, we will invite them to meet with you at our office. And for the coffee chats, I think that not really normal in Vietnam, because students in Vietnam are very busy with their studying at the school.
I have a follow-up question about private versus public high schools. In general, do you think, or do you see more students from private schools attending IDP fairs or attending other fairs within the country, or is it pretty equal between public and the private high school students?
Yeah, actually, the private high school in Vietnam have more potential students than the public school in Vietnam, because the private high school, at the private high school, the students have better at English, and of course, the financial situation of their family is stronger than the public school, and so that's why the private school in Vietnam is more potential than public.
Thanks, too. We have a question about health and medicine interests. So on Demand Tracker, we see health programs typically as #1 for students in Vietnam. What are you seeing within the counselor offices? Are students showing interest in health majors at the undergraduate and postgraduate level? And if so, are they applying to those programs and being denied, or are they just simply not applying? What's the trend there?
Yeah. For the undergraduate level, who asking for the health and medicine, they are the students that very good at academics, and then they when asking for, because searching for the information, and they will asking about the financial. I mean that the tuition fee and how long for the time of studying, and then after that they will go back with their family to consider about whether they can afford for the tuition fee with the to study that. And then one more thing is they found that it's very difficult to study health and medicine. So after considering, they will make, most of them, I say they change the major to choose another major that related to it. And for or they change to another countries. And for the postgraduate, the postgraduate means that the student need to have the background in health and medicine. So with the background of health and medicine, with the undergraduate level in Vietnam, it's very difficult for them to accept it or to find a program for the master program of the health and medicine. So, and one more reason that the English level of the student have the bachelor degree in health and medicine is not really high, and it would require them to take long time to achieve 6.5 at IELTS. So I think that they have to change their plan.
Thank you, too. The next question here, wait, where was I? Sorry, we have a lot coming in. What is the awareness and perception of community colleges among Vietnamese students? Is there interest for attending at a community college? I know you had a slide that showed students interested in associates. It's a much lower number than the bachelor's degree, but if you could give more information on that.
Yeah, about the community college, most of the students study community college in Vietnam because they have the relative in the US, and the relative told them that you should choose to study associate degree because it is suitable for you. And for other students, they prefer universities than the community college, because because of some myths that there are some myths in Vietnam that it's very difficult to get the visa if go through community colleges. But at IDP, we don't think that. So we try to also to support and promote for all the segment college and universities and all the range of tuition fee. So I think that the community college, if you want to promote in Vietnam, you need to work hard to talk with students to promote about the quality and about the visa successful rate.
Thank you, too. So when Vietnamese students look for intensive English programs in the US, what are the key factors for their enrollment decision?
Actually, the intensive English will be followed by the main program, the long-term program. I mean that it will be very difficult for Vietnam students to get the visa if they only go to the US to study an English course. So these programs often, for example, they go to study 4 months of internship English, and then they will go to the bachelor degree. And they will have the conditional offer of the bachelor degree.
All right, thank you very much. Do you think in-person visits in Vietnam are more attractive to students than a virtual meeting?
Of course, the physical is the best way to attract more students and counselor, even counselor. As I mentioned above, that the Vietnamese students have to study very hard. They have to study full day at school, and in the evening they have some extra class. And even in the weekend, they have a lot of activities have to go. So it's very when you go to Vietnam, I think that the best way is attend a fair, so you can meet many students at the same time, and they will spend the student can spend 1 day, and they can visit many schools. And that's the reason why you should work with the counselor, because counselor will have more time in Vietnam to talk and transfer your message to the students.
Thank you, too. So if a representative from the US is coming to Vietnam, or there's an in-country rep and they're scheduling yield events such as the admitted student one-on-one meetings or admitted student larger events, where's best to host those? Is it a hotel, a restaurant, or do you have any other recommendations for institutions?
I think that many institutions do that, and I think that not many. It depends on the demand of student. If they really keen on your institution, they will come to visit and meet you one by one. If not, they would not, because they you know that in Vietnam they have a lot of options, and they attend many fair and many seminar, and they have a lot of time to talk with the school rep already. So we in Vietnam, we try to like arrange kind of visits, but they only go to meet if the school, if it is the like the first priority school. So I think that you can try.
And
It's
since
also a good
we're
option, yeah.
Yeah, since many universities are hosting yield events or organizing virtual yield events, that in-person part of it's costly, budgets are tight and they're limited for institution enrollment offices. Do you have a recommendation how to make an affordable yield event?
Oh, you mean that the location, the venue?
And the time of day, like the day of the week, when to schedule that. So if an institution's flying out and they're in Ho Chi Minh City, what's the best day of the week to organize the yield event? And
No,
is
I
there
think,
a
yeah,
better district, or I don't know, I'm looking for anything just to help the institutions put that together without spending too much
yeah,
money.
yeah. I think that a very difficult question
Yeah.
because it when yeah, each school need to do some analysis about their segment and about their budgets, because to invite the student did a lot of activities and marketing budgets.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Do you think most Vietnamese students want to return back to Vietnam after graduation or continue working in the US?
I think that they prefer to working in the US after graduation. So it's very important for them because they can have gain knowledge, experience, and even many of them want to get the PR from the US.
Okay, thank you. And just looking at our next, do students in Vietnam care more about the location of the university or the quality of the university? That's a tough question.
Yeah, I think that it depends on each student. For the student, as I say, I think that both of them, the quality of the teaching, the good quality of education and the good location, I think that it should be balanced for them.
Okay, fair enough. That's a good answer.
Yeah, yeah. They also give us a lot of questions like this.
Sure. We're being asked about the cost of the IDP fairs, and how far in advance you plan those. So if you are looking to know the cost and you're a current partner of IDP, you're welcome to respond to the email, the webinar email, to be sent the PDF file of where all the fairs are being hosted and the total cost for each.
Yeah.
I think we're getting close to the end here with our questions and our time. I think this is a good question to wrap up on. What are the challenges students face when applying to US universities for undergraduate students and postgraduate students?
Did you mean the challenging of student, right?
Mm-hmm. Like is cost the number one challenge, or English education level the number one challenge? Difficult question, but I think it might be
I think that
insightful.
it is
Maybe there's
the
more than
cost.
one
The cost will be
challenge.
the most challenging for them because nowadays the student who want to study abroad, they have to prepare for the English very soon, but they can have many options for example, IELTS from at least 5 or 5.5 at IELTS to study abroad. So if they get this level, they can have to study at the English course and then go to the long-term course. So the tuition fee is quite challenging for them because that's the reason why they have to choose to find the institution that match with suitable with their family, financial, and their requirement about the location and the ranking.
Okay, thank you. And I think the last question we have here is, are your admission day fairs still happening in May? And if they are, they are? Okay.
Yes, we have the admission day in May. And at the moment, we do not have the link to register yet, but we will send you soon.
Thank you, too. All right, well, that brings us to the end of our presentation today. Thank you for the great questions. I appreciate you all taking the time to be here Thank you to Tu and Sang for all of your knowledge and wisdom about Vietnam. I appreciate it very much. If you have any questions or would like to learn more about IDP or our fairs or anything at all, please respond to the registration email that you received and we will follow up. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for
Thank you very much.
Have a good night, Sang and Tu.
Have a good night.
have a good day,
Have a good
everyone.
day. Bye bye.
Bye bye.